and for hearing what God is saying and being bold enough to say it. Thank you. Let me say welcome, my own welcome to all of us who are on tonight. If you're here for the first time, we welcome you to our family. And we are glad that you're here. We trust that you will stay and be a member of our family, be a part of our family, because that's who we are. We are the Live Right family, and we're here so that we can encourage each other to just live right. And so we want to, again, if you're new, we just want to let you know this is the way we do it. It's a unique kind of ministry. I say unique because I really don't know of any other ministry that does it this way. But, you know, for the first half, we have the First Lady who would share with you what God has laid on her heart. And then I come to share with you what God has laid on my heart. And this part of the Bible study, or the kingdom study as we call it, is interactive, where you can ask questions, make comments, agree, disagree, and let's reason together. So we have been looking at the 10 commandments, and we've reached commandment number 7, I believe it is. Thou shalt not steal. And the last thing we were discussing last evening is about what are the things apart from money. Because when we think of stealing, we think of money, we think of property, we think of breaking in people's home, home invasion and taking people's possession and belonging. But we understand from our discussion that stealing is more than just money and property and things. And what we were discussing last evening and the evening before is about stealing time. Time is something that you can steal, and I was making the point because someone raised, and we had some discussion on it, that if you go to church late, just as if you go to work late, or you go to work and you're doing something that you are not contracted to do, something that would benefit you, and you're doing it on someone else's time, that is stealing. And someone brought up the idea of going to church late, and we were talking about whether or not you are stealing from God when you do that. And I made the point that you're not stealing from God, you're not robbing God, you're robbing yourself of the blessing of being early, the blessing of being in the presence of God, the blessing of being in the place when the water is being stirred up. You rob yourself of the blessing when you decide, not if you're held back, if you decide, I want to go to church late, you see, because I can't take this worship now, them worship team, I don't like how they sing. Or, you go to church late because, at a certain time your offering is picked up, so you could go to church after that. And so you decide. And when you decide that, then you are really robbing yourself. Because if God says, don't forsake the assembling of yourself together, it means that he honors it, and it means that he is there. And he says, Jesus said, if, when 2 or 3 are gathered in my name. So we understand that there's something about, gathering publicly and corporately that welcomes and attracts the Spirit of God. And if the Spirit of God is there and you're not there, then you're the one that lose out. And so we talked about that. And we want to continue. I'm not sure what point we ended on last evening, but I want us to continue unless someone has a question or comment based on what we did last evening. I want to pause for a minute. Is there a question or comment that you would like to make based on what we discussed last evening?
No hands, Dr. Richards.
Okay, all right, so let's move on. Now, one of these things as well, as we're talking about jobs and we're talking about, employees stealing time, from the employers. But employers can also steal from their employees. Yeah, you can. Let's look at Leviticus 19 verse 13. I said 13 and 14, but let's look at Leviticus 19:13. Anyone has that? Leviticus 19:13. I'm not sure who's supposed to read that, but the first person that gets it, could you read it? Go ahead.
You shall not treat your neighbor nor rob him. The wages of him who is hired shall not remain with you all night until morning. Is that 13 alone you said?
Yeah, just 13, just 13. Right?
Okay.
You shall not cheat your neighbor, nor rob him. The wages of one who is hired with you shall not remain with you all night until morning. You can cheat somebody who you've employed. One, by not paying them what they are really worth. You're cheating the person, you're stealing from them. You're stealing an income that they could have and should have been making. And in this particular voice, those who are hired with you, don't keep it all night. What is that? What does that mean? It means that they need it. They need it. They need the money to take care of their family, to take care of their home or whatever, but you keeping it. All right, and that was in those days, when this law was given, because they used to work and get paid daily. So when somebody works all day and you decide to withhold their money, you're affecting their families, because those people who work, they live from day to day. And it's the same way if you translate that into 2022. Somebody work, pay them. And you have so many people. And I'm sure we have people in that, well, when I say I'm sure, it means you're guessing, but I can tell you there are people in this family who have worked and haven't been paid for weeks and months by the employer. In some cases, it may be that the employer doesn't have the money, but in other cases, the employer feels, well, listen, I can do without paying them because there are other things that are more important, and these people are not going to leave because this is all they have. So you're robbing the people of the opportunity of using those funds to do something that they need to do. So we have to be careful when we commit to do something. We commit, somebody comes to you and they say to you, they sell you something or they give you something, or you say to somebody, listen, I like that, whatever that they have, and I'll pay you for it. And the person gives it to you, with the intention of receiving the money from you sometime, and you delay. And in some cases, you don't even pay them. That is stealing, because you're taking something that does not belong to you. Once they give you the item, then the money for the item now belongs to them. That's why in accounting, those of you who do accounting, there's something called accruals. Expenses that are accrued, things that have to be paid and you haven't paid it yet. You have to bring it into the books because it's a real thing. And payment in advance is a real thing. So we have to understand that you can rob people of wages and you can rob people of things that they purchase from you. That's another way of stealing. Employers can also steal by withholding taxes. Let's look at Romans 13:7.
Yes, Dr. I have that scripture verse. Give
Go
to
ahead.
everyone what you owe them. If you owe taxes, pay taxes. If you revenue, then revenue. If respected, then respect. If honor, then honor.
Pay what you owe. If you don't pay what you owe, that's a form of stealing. That's a form of taking something that belongs to somebody else. That's what Jesus himself says, render unto Caesar the things that are Caesar's, and unto God the things that are God. So there are some employers, and it's both employer and employees. Some employers, they don't pay the taxes. They take out your NIS, they take out your PAYE, and they don't pay it. And when you go to make a claim, there's nothing. You can't get your claim settled. Why? Because the employers withheld the taxes that you paid that was deducted from your salary. And then there are some people, they're supposed to pay taxes, but they do all sorts of things to avoid doing it, avoid paying the taxes. That's why you see a lot of celebrities, especially, I guess, when the more money you have, the more you want to keep for yourself. So you don't want the government to get any. So you don't declare certain things. When you make a declaration that I own this, you may have to pay taxes on it. And that's why a lot of celebrities. Look, just the other day, Lionel Messi, for those of you who know football, Lionel Messi, he was brought before the court, failure to pay taxes. Shakira, that's another famous singer, was brought before the court because she was found not to have paid her taxes. And I guess these people who have a lot of money just feel, no, I don't want to share my money. But that is stealing because it is not yours. It is due to the government. So that's another form of stealing. And the Bible says, thou shalt not steal. But as we said, it's not just money only. We talked about opportunities. What about ideas? You can steal somebody's idea. You know, I understand that there are certain people, it was said, I don't know how true it is, but because it was out there in the public, I'm just using this as an example, that is it Apple or Facebook or one of these places, one of these entities, that the person who is credited for having started them really stole the idea from somebody else. Or you and your partner, you're discussing something, I have an idea to do something, boy, and you know, and let's do it together. And next thing you know, the person going behind your back and they talk to somebody else and they get all the credit. You're stealing somebody's creation. There's something called plagiarism. Plagiarism is when you take somebody's work and you treat it as your own. You're doing a thesis, you're doing a paper, and you take, you know, you just copy and paste. So you take the person, what they have said, and you put it as part of your presentation. Now, there's nothing wrong with doing that if you give the person the credit. If you say, well, as so-and-so said, those of us who have studied law, I did commercial law. And one of the things that when we were doing our paper, we would have to say whatever point we're making, as it was in the case, it was decided in the case of this one versus that one. You have to give credit where it is, where it's due. But a lot of people steal other people's ideas. How many times have you ever experienced somebody having a great idea for something? And you just happen to mention it to somebody, and then next thing you know, they take your idea and they run with it and they create it as their own, and they don't give you the credit. One of my songs, you all know I'm a songwriter. I love to write songs. I've written a lot of songs. Some songs that you all hear don't even know that I wrote. And there's a particular song that I wrote. I understand. I was told that a guy won a gospel lip sync competition in, I can't remember the name of the country, one of those, was it Indonesia or one of those countries? He won the competition, a national competition, with one of my songs. He never told me anything. I don't know, he must have gotten, if it's a national competition, then you would have gotten paid for it, gotten money. So he won the competition with my song. And everybody saying that was his song. That's stealing, because I'm supposed to get royalties for that. No, I never confronted him because he's not in the country, and I didn't see him. As a matter of fact, what happened, I wrote a song for him and he won a national competition in Trinidad. The national gospel lip sync competition. He won it with my song. But I understand he took another song, not the same song that he won in Trinidad, another one of my songs, those of you who know the Chinese song and the Chinese Witness, and he won well, this is what I was told. That is stealing. You're stealing somebody's creation. It's called intellectual property. And you don't steal that. You don't take that without, getting the person's permission. And that's a form of stealing. Now, there are times when you might be inspired by somebody. You hear something. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you something. As a songwriter, many of my songs that I've written is because I'm listening to a particular song And what is strange is what I'm hearing is not what they're singing, but it came from what they were doing. The first song that I ever wrote was a song called Tomorrow. I went to a concert in Spectacular, and there's a group called the NYI Men, and they were singing this song that was written by the, not the Commodores, the Commodores, called Tomorrow. And I loved this song, and I went home singing this song, and for the next couple of days, I'm just singing this song and singing this song. And then a couple of weeks after, I heard this song on the radio, and I realized that the song that I was singing and the song that was playing on the radio that I heard were two completely different songs. The only thing that was similar was the word tomorrow. And so I finished the song. I actually wrote it out, and it became a song. If I could play it on the station sometime, I gave it to someone to sing, and she has sung it. So there are times when you get ideas. You can take ideas from people, but you don't take what they did and claim it to be yours. That's a form of stealing. And I'm talking about composition, but it could be anything. It could be anything. Somebody sew, a dress for you and they bless you with it, or you bought it from them and you go in and tell everybody, you know what? I made this. You don't do that. So stealing is taking anything that is not yours and you're claiming it. Let me ask you a question. I want to get your thoughts on this. Can you steal somebody's spouse? Can you steal somebody's girlfriend? Is that possible? Can you steal somebody's boyfriend? Is that possible? What do you think? Let me hear from you.
And the answer is yes.
The answer is yes?
Yes.
All right. Anybody agree, disagree?
Good night. It's for here.
Aye.
I put my hand on like one and knowledge. I believe it. It is yes. I believe in that, yes, because people do put certain things in food and other people are transformed from themselves to other things. So
Oh, you talk about something. All right. Okay.
no. I'm talking about something else.
Is that really true? Is
Yeah.
that true, really true? You can really put what they call stay home.
It has
in
certain
somebody-
things, Pastor. Sorry. It has certain things, but like I was telling a Venezuelan, he's working for this man who has so many buildings and things. And the man sent food for him to eat, breakfast for him to eat, but he was going to buy some food and things. And he said, when he bring it, he called and said, no, tell him to come, don't buy nothing, come, it have food, he bring food for him. And when he bought the food and he given the guy, but the owner, the businessman, he left. But I want the food, I say, hey, don't eat that food. Do not eat that food. I said, that man do something that I don't like it. Because it had a smell and it have I don't know. I just tell him, don't eat it. I said, give somebody else, get rid of it. And he did. I would like to tell you that's what I think.
All right.
I should, right? But yeah, people do. Thank you.
All right. Okay.
Professor, the reason why I said yes, this is many years ago, but as a teenager growing up, I am friends with my boyfriend, and I had a friend, a cousin of mine, who was secretly seeing my boyfriend too, and eventually, the rest is history. She was with him, so that's why I say yes, but that's many years ago.
Okay. But let me ask you a question then. Can somebody steal you? Can somebody steal you? If there are two people who are going together, boyfriend and girlfriend, or husband and wife, and a third party comes into, now remember, stealing is taking something that doesn't belong to you, right? But something, can you take someone without the person's consent?
Good
Can
night.
somebody, can somebody steal you away without your consent?
Dr. Richards, we have too many people talking at the same time. Just put your hands up and we'll call you one by one. All right? Put your hands up and we'll call you. Dr. Richards, Jonathan hand is up for a while now.
Jonathan, oh, sorry. Go ahead, Johnny.
So I would say yes, I will be answering the question. I would just say yes. It's good to see somebody girlfriend.
You said, wait. Say that again. You say yes.
I said yes. My thing is good to see somebody girlfriend or boyfriend, whatever. I don't mind. Whatever it says, you might just steal them.
So you said it's good to steal somebody's girlfriend. Is that what you said?
Yes,
really? Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else?
Sister Judy and Maynard and Judah.
Mm-hmm.
Sister Judy? Judah?
You sure she can unmute?
Okay, yes, I can.
Okay.
Hi, this is Mrs. Maynard.
Hi, Mrs. Maynard.
I don't believe you can steal anybody. I think if you get through, it's because the person wanted to go and be with you. Because everybody have a choice, and I honestly don't believe that you can steal anybody.
Okay, thank you. And Judah?
Dr. Richards, it is not good to steal anything from anyone, right? So say if you're going out, you have a girlfriend and somebody else steal that from you. The person who stole that girlfriend from you, that was let's say if you're broke up and they with them, that's a different situation. But if you're with her, right? You're in a relationship with her and somebody else was to date her, then that person is stealing from you, stealing something that is not their own, and that's the same principle that you're trying to teach, not taking stuff that is not yours.
Okay, so you believe that you could somebody could steal a girlfriend from you? That's what you say?
Yes, Dr. Richards.
Okay, thank you, Judah. Anyone else?
Sheldon, Brother Sheldon.
Brother Sheldon.
Good night, everyone.
Hi.
I don't believe that somebody can steal your girlfriend, because girlfriend or boyfriend or husband or wife, because that person have to be a willing participant to go with the other person. Because if that person did not do it under duress, like if they put a gun to the person's head or something like that, that person went willingly. So that person was a willing participant. So to say that that person stole that person from you, as maybe husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, I don't think that, you could actually steal somebody from somebody, because the person have a choice, right? It come down to a choice, right? So, and you, the person, went willingly. If the person would have gone, they went willingly. So it was not stealing. The person went willingly, so that is not stealing. They went, right? So it's not stealing.
So let me ask you, well, since you're on the floor, let me ask you this question then. So why is it that there are instances when two people are going together and then a third party enters, and let's say a girl, another girl enters the relationship, and he goes with the girl or shows some sort of inclination towards the girl. Why it is his girlfriend goes after the girl rather than him? Why it is you want to beat up the girl? Why does the fella want to beat up the other man? If it is that they would not have stolen, why is it so? I don't know if you could answer that question. I'm just throwing it out as you're on the floor.
Well, I would answer that question by asking a question. The woman that was caught in adultery, why it is the body woman and not the man? Right? So at the end of it, right? So yes, the person will go after the person that entered the relationship and look at them as the intruder. But when you look at it, the person, yes, was an intruder in the relationship, yes, but the person that you were in the relationship with went willingly. So it is basically looking for someone to blame and not looking at the person that you are with went willingly. So that person was a willing participant in it also. So you have to blame both parties. Yes, the person that came in, right? The person that came in, yes, they came in and they probably would have sowed a seed, right? But at the end of the day, they sowed a seed and the person went willingly. So it wasn't a situation that, all right, the person gone and this person said, well, I put a gun to your head and say, well, hey, you had to come with me, you know, right? It's not that. You had a choice and you made the choice, right? You made the choice, you know, and you know, as I heard Miles Monroe said something at time, you know, he said, a lot of times, you know, we have decisions to make. And sometimes, you know, we don't look at the decision. What we should look at is the consequences of the decisions. And when people reach a point when they recognize that they can live with the consequences of the decision, then the decision is very easy to make, right? So at the end of it, if the person left, right, it's because they tell themselves, well, hey, I can live with the consequences of this decision, you know, so I gone, right?
Okay.
So.
Thank you. Thank you, Sheldon. Anyone else?
Sister Nakira.
Brother Sheldon said it all in a nutshell. You can't steal something or someone who doesn't want to be stolen, right? The person already made up their mind that they weren't contented. So they're like, it's come like they lack self-control. So they saw something else on the outside and they wanted that. They're walking in the flesh.
So I would ask you the same question. Why is it then that people still go after the third party and not the second party, not the person who's in the relationship? Why does you want to beat up the girl? Don't take my man, stay away from my man. Or stay away from my girl. You know, you go after the man, go after the other man. You know, I wanted to stay away from my woman, that kind of thing. Well, and it's usually the woman that goes after the other woman, huh? Usually. So why is that? Why is it, if you all are saying that someone cannot be stolen, that at some point in time they would have made a decision to go or to get involved or, you know, to do whatever, why is it it's always the other person that is blamed and not the person that, you know, committed the act, the person in the relationship? I throw that out not because I expect, you know, we would really find the answer. I am saying it so that people would think, because this is what inevitably happens in relationships like that. A third party comes in and you want to kill the third party when you don't look at the fact that the person in front of you would have made that decision to go with them. And my point that I'm making in case, well, I don't know if we have any other hands. I agree with you all. You cannot be stolen. Well, you can, but you know, we'll talk about that in a, you know, in a little while. But in a relationship, hello?
We have Sister Kimlan and Sister Judy.
Okay, Sister Kimlan and Sister Judy.
Hi. In terms of being stolen from somebody, yes, it's a choice that the other person makes, but let's just say you can be lured because, okay, 2 points I want to make. David, didn't he steal Bathsheba, even though she made the choice and went? We don't know the circumstances behind her obedience and going with him, but he stole her from Uriah. And 2, you can't steal somebody, I mean, temporarily, because let's just say raping is a form of taking what does not belong to you. So in that sense, I would say yes, you can't be stolen in that way against your will. But in the other aspect, like in terms of couples, you can be lured, and lying is a form of false selling. And I mean, we get robbed when we look for a product that we want to buy, and it promises this and it says that, and when we use it, it is completely not what it was, and we were cheated out from it. And that in itself, our money was stolen from us. So why the person can't be lured and saw something brighter, even though it was a decision, yes, but why the luring can't be the form of where initiated the theft is what I'm trying to say.
Okay, thank you. There's somebody else?
Sister Julianne.
Hi, yeah, Professor. I think that the person goes after the third party because they don't want to accept sometimes that there's a lack in them for the relationship. So they prefer to blame the other person than to look to themselves and see what went wrong in the first place, right?
Okay.
So they don't want to admit that they was at fault, probably why the next person left them. So they prefer to attack this person and put all the blame on them.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. And I think it maybe is a sense of pride.
Sister Christine.
Hello, good night.
Aye.
Someone could can steal a next person, especially children. They're easily lured, right? So you can steal a person.
Okay, so we talking about relationships here. That's what I'm talking. I said spouse or girlfriend and boyfriend. And this is what we center in, we zeroing in on that. If a boyfriend and a girlfriend and a third party comes in, it's that person. And can someone come into a relationship and steal somebody away from you? That's what we're talking about. All right, because as I told you, there are instances where you can get stolen. We talk about that. We will talk about that. But I'm talking about in a relationship where you have two people in a relationship, whether they're married or unmarried, and a third party comes. And, you're angry. You go after the third party. And I believe a lot of time it's because of pride. How could you do this to me? You make me look bad. You make me look because you came and took away what I had. So you go after the third party because of a sense of you are hurt, you're angry, you're pained because your pride has been dented. I believe that's the reason why we go after the third party. Okay, and and as someone said, you don't want to take the responsibility for the relationship. Maybe the relationship was lacking in some area, and you have to blame somebody, not yourself. So you go after them. So I honestly don't believe that someone can be stolen in that sense. You must give consent somewhere along the line. You must have given consent. You're not stolen. Stolen is to be taken away against against your will. Now I'm looking at the time. We will come back to the stealing of people in a little while, but I just want to ask this question. Can someone in fact, let me not ask the question. Let me make a statement. You can steal someone's innocence. You can steal someone's innocence. We're looking at these things apart from money that can be stolen. You can steal someone's innocence through rape. You rape a child, you rape someone who's a virgin. And now their innocence is gone. And when we say innocent, we talk about their virginity. You can steal that. And that is one of the worst things to happen to any human being, male or female, because it happens to male as well. You can actually steal that. And you can steal it in the case of children, and maybe some adults too, as someone said just now, in the case of coercing them. You coerce them to come to that place by whatever means you do it. Maybe it's with your words, maybe with promises, maybe with money, but you steal their innocence. You give them a chance to develop, to grow. to live life where they would have experienced life for themselves in the way God wanted them to experience it. And some people steal that from people, and that is so sad. But that's another form of theft. You can steal someone's joy and peace. You know that? You know, you can steal something. You know, we sing that song, don't let the devil steal your joy, steal your joy. Yeah, your joy can be stolen. How? By the way you treat them. There are some people who are living unhappy lives in their own homes because of abuse, because of violence. Let's look quickly at some scripture verses. We're going to have to end with this tonight because we're going to come back as you know, to the point of how you can steal somebody. But let's look quickly. Proverbs 25:24. All Proverbs 25:24. Proverbs 27:15 and 16. Proverbs 18:19. And Proverbs 55:12 to 14. Let's look at those quickly and we're going to end with this tonight. Proverbs 25:24. Proverbs 27:15 and 16. Proverbs 18:19. And Proverbs 55:12 to 14, in any order. Let's read them quickly. And we're going to end with that tonight. Aye.
Proverbs 27. Restrain.
Okay, I'm not hearing.
I sorry.
Okay.
All right, so I'm reading from the New International Version. A quarrelsome wife is like a constant dripping on a rainy day. Restraining her is like restraining the wind or grasping oil with the hand.
Okay, that speaks for itself. I don't even have to go into that to explain that. Next one. But that can steal your joy. That can steal your joy. So let's not be contentious, ladies. The next time we will talk more about it. Next one, Proverbs 25:24, 18, 19, and 55. Nobody?
Dr. Richards, that belongs to Sister Kathleen, Auntie Gail.
Yeah, well, some of them, Joshua, they would have chosen that long before, right? So they may not know that they chose it then. So let's just read it quickly. Proverbs 25:24, 18, 19, and 55:12 to 14. Let's see if you can wrap up with these verses.
But he have it in the chat. Why they not seeing it? Good night.
Aye.
Good night, Dr. Richards.
Go ahead.
Proverbs 18:19. A brother offended is harder to be won than a strong city, and their contentious are like the bars of a castle.
So one is a wife, one is a brother. Next one. We have two more to read. Proverbs 25:24 and 55:12 to 14. Let's do that quickly. You're almost out of time.
Hi, good night.
Aye.
So here I'll read Proverbs 25:24. It is better to dwell in the corner of the house top than with a brawling woman and in a wide house.
It's better to dwell in the corner of a house up in a little room in a little corner than with a brawling woman or in some
in a wide house.
Contentious woman. And Proverbs 55:12 to 14. Come on, quickly.
All right, Dr. Richards, I'll read it. Proverbs 55.
Psalm 55. My apology. Psalm 55:12 to 14. Psalm 55:12 to 14.
I got concerned there, right? Psalm 55, the King James Version. Let me put the New King James instead.
Yeah.
Not the King James Version, but I know you like the
New King James.
New King James. Psalm 65 verses what? 12
to 14.
4:1-4, right?
Yes.
For it is not an enemy who reproaches me, then I could bear it. Nor is it one who hates me, who has exalted himself against me, then I could hide from him. But it was you, a man, my equal, my companion, and my acquaintance. We took sweet counsel together and walked to the house of God in the throne.
Right. So, you know, you could steal somebody's joy and peace, somebody close to you. Your wife can do it, and you know, conversely, your husband too. Can take away your joy, could take away your peace by the constant nagging, by abuse. Your good friend, when they betray your confidence, that's stealing somebody's joy. You know, as the last one says, you know, if it was somebody who didn't like me, my enemy, I could have deal with that. But you, my friend, we used to walk to church together. We did these things together. And that takes away your joy. You steal, you have stolen my joy from me because I trusted you. And this is what you did to me. So yeah, you can steal somebody's joy. You can steal somebody's peace. Okay, we're gonna end here tonight. Oh, it's the last night of the week, so we have to continue on Tuesday. All right, so we talk about just one other way actually that you can steal. There may be other ways as well. There's just one other thing that I want to bring up in terms of stealing. But just remember, the principle is, or the commandment is, thou shalt not steal, meaning you should not steal. Don't steal the money, don't steal the property, don't steal the spouse if you can, or the girlfriend. Don't steal their creation, their ideas, their opportunities, their composition. Don't steal what does not belong. Don't take what does not belong to you and claim it to be your own or use it as your own. Amen. That is the word of God. That is what God says. We're going to end here for tonight. We've already gone on over time. I want to wish you a wonderful weekend, my people. Please be safe. COVID-19 is still, people are still dying from it and people are still catching it. So please be careful and, you know, let's live right. Let's seek to live right over the weekend. Be good to somebody, be good to yourself. God bless you. Have a good night and a wonderful weekend. And we'll be back on Monday, God's willing, at 6 o'clock for our